What is up, everyone, and welcome to the Real Ones Canes podcast after Miami beat Florida at Hard Rock Stadium yesterday. The final score, Miami 26, Florida 7. There is my co-host. He is on my left if you are watching. If you're listening, he's wherever you want him to be. His name is Cam Underwood. He's a managing editor of State of the U. You can follow him on X at Underwood Sports. I'm Brian the Beast London. You can follow me at Miami Radio Beast. And yeah, there you go, Cam. Yeah, you pointed the right direction. This episode may be a little bit different. It got off to a rocky start when Cam showed up with his shirt inside out. But that's neither here nor there.
I thought that was just going to be a mishap amongst friends on a quiet Sunday morning, but here goes Beast, putting my business all out. I'm wearing my polo because I wanted to bring the electric juice. He's wearing this Crocs shirt.
Yeah, Crocs.
Making Crocs. Fun of the people in Alachua County. And I was just noticing how much color was in my shirt. Like I had this stripe down the middle of green. I was like, man, I don't remember this shirt with this design and all these seams on the outs. Oh, whoops. But anyways, here we are on a good Sunday morning recapping the night that was at Hard Rock with a big rivalry game win over the Little Brothers from Alachua County and sending them back into oblivion, not having beaten Miami in Miami since 1985 when I was the ripe young age of 4. It was the last time they beat us down here. We are 9-2 against them in the last 11 meetings. And they can go suck it.
By the way, the Crocs thing isn't just a reference to, their entire program being a Croc. It is a reference to one of the years their astute athletic communication staff put a crocodile on the front of their media guide instead of an alligator. So that happened. In any event,
yes.
We were both at Hard Rock Stadium last night. The crowd was juiced. It was a packed house. It was, I would say, at least 80% Canes fans. Yeah, there were some Gator fans sprinkled in, but there was no big pockets or big groups of Gator fans anywhere. It definitely wasn't the same as it has been in the past. You and I both heard from people that may or may not root for the orange and blue that just decided, you know what, I'm not going to go to the game. Just
gonna have a little gathering at the house, do some wings and steaks on the grill, just sit around the living room and just kind of hang out.
The feedback I got is that they were watching the Office reruns instead of the game.
But I did have one friend who stuck it out through the third quarter because
God bless him.
I mean, their mental fortitude was there, and even when Miami should have been up by more and was only up 13-0, then Florida gets their one drive, and then it was like, all right, and so the group, we sit next to each other in the press box, so we see the activity, not like we're reading the messages, but we see the phones flashing. Right. I know you saw my phone flashing a lot because he was in the group chat, yo, what's up? Hey, what's up? Hey, what's up? And then early in the fourth quarter, decided to go do other things, we'll call it.
Yes.
But yeah. So, there were the biggest collection of Gator fans together in the stands was the pep band that they brought. It was half quarter of their marching band in the one corner on their sideline. That was the biggest group. I was expecting more, but understanding where they are as a program and a fan base in the journey with the entire organization, just because it's in a really bad state of affairs. I understand why people would elect to stay home if they were a Gator fan. And look, have a little gathering, hope that something was going to shake. And as soon as it started going the way it was going, bust out the Monopoly, bust out the spades, bust out the Office reruns, because this was never going to go really any other way than it went.
So let's get into this game, right? It starts out picture perfect, right? Florida gets the ball first because Miami defers. Florida goes 3 and out. Then Miami takes over. Mark Fletcher's running the ball. Carson Beck throws a couple of incomplete passes, but then Marty Brown gets into the game. Marty Brown with the catch, Marty Brown with the run, Marty Brown into the end zone, touchdown Miami. Things are looking good. Then another Florida punt, then another Miami possession, and that didn't quite go as planned.
Sorry. 16 plays for a field goal on the second drive.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We'll take it. So now that's 10. Then Florida takes over again. DJ Lagway incomplete. DJ Lagway, Jackson rushed. Lagway, whatever. That ended up in where did that end up? That ended up to another punt. Yeah, there we go. Then Miami takes over, punt. Then Florida takes over, punt. Then it's just punt. It's just punt. It's just punt. It's just punt. There was 11 punts in the game, I believe. And Miami got another field goal. And Florida couldn't score. Florida couldn't do anything on offense. The defense was playing lights out. And then the halftime came. And then the third quarter got really bad for Miami on offense. They were anemic, absolutely anemic on offense. Could not do anything. Kind of got away from what they were doing in the first half. And then the Gators managed to have one drive where they actually looked competent, and a couple of breaks by the Miami defense lands to a Gator touchdown. And now this is where I'm, me, filled with anxiety. This is where oh no, it's happening. Here we go. But the Corey Heatherman defense, Cam, they correct what they needed to correct. They're resilient. They come out, and that was it. And then Miami gets a couple scores after that and ends up winning the game. But I think the story of there's a couple of stories from last night. I want to get your thoughts. One is just another incredible performance by both lines, offensive and defensive. Two, really another outstanding job by Corey Heatherman and all the defensive coaches in the defense. Three, I would say would be maybe Carson Beck's worst game in a while. He just wasn't. It didn't look like he was seeing things great. Now, obviously, the Gators are they're on scholarship too. They're doing things to confuse him and whatnot. And four, I'm just going to be honest with you. I think the unsung hero of this team this year, we could talk about who the MVP should be, and whether it's Rueben Bain or up until last night Carson Beck, or maybe you go with CJ Daniels for the unbelievable catches, or Malachi Toney, but the unsung hero is Mark Fletcher. And I feel so good for that kid. Between him and Marty Brown, Jordan Lyle was held out again last night, as well as JoJo Trader. The two of them running the football, it's ground and pound, and I don't mind it. I actually kind of love it.
Wow. That's a lot.
Sorry.
Okay.
I had to.
You're good.
I've been
you had to dump. You had to brain dump. I get it.
Yeah. No,
I hear you.
I went to bed at 2:40 and woke up at 7, so I've been thinking about that ever since with no sleep.
No. You're good. You're good. I'm going to start with the run game, and I'm going to go back to the other things. So I'm going to start at the end, and then I'm going to jump to the beginning for those who are listening to all these things. Number one, the run game. This is Cristobal football. To
Cristobal, if you will.
Cristobal, yes.
Yes.
To his fever dream state. You have Mark Fletcher with 116 and a tud. You have Marty Brown with 80 and 2 tuds, and it should have been more because they whistled down a play that was live.
Ass-hass refs.
It was completely the wrong call. He told the refs that it's unreviewable for forward progress, but clearly he's in the middle of the pile, moving, shaking, spun out.
He never stopped once. He was never
stopped once.
Yeah.
Never stopped once. But the referees, obviously, they're not in the middle of the pile action, and so they were out, and it was the quickest whistle I've literally ever seen in my life. With all of the games that I've been to, all of the games that I've worked in press boxes, all the games that I've called as an announcer, right, from all over South Florida, including multiple all-star games, the Broward Dade game for 6 years I announced. I've done all kinds of things. I've been to St. Thomas Aquinas, and I've seen them cheat for Aquinas umpteen times in my career. I have never seen a whistle blown that quickly for forward progress, literally in my life. But I digress.
By the way, just it wasn't SEC referee officiating crew.
It could have been a Martian crew. I don't care. It was wrong, and they robbed Marty Brown.
Yes. Okay.
But having, like, we're not even right now Thunder and Lightning. It's Thunder and Mo Thunder, because both them dudes are big and going to run through your goddamn face. And did. And Cristobal loves it. I love it. I tweeted out after the first drive, good old boring efficiency, because it wasn't blur over the top. It wasn't, all those different kind of things in the pass game. It was body blows. We're going to, hit a check down, run for 16, and then run up the middle for 6, run up the middle for 4, run up the middle for 8, run outside for 2, and just that over and over and over again. I wanted more good boring efficiency in the dry spell period in the middle of the game. I don't know why this has been a case with Shannon Dawson, even going back to last year with Cam Ward. I kept tweeting it then, and people were like, Cam, you don't know ball, shut the F up. But in the middle of these games, even in blowout wins, there are multiple runs of consecutive possessions that Miami does 0 or less than 0 offensively. And it's troubling. And I said it last year, and I know people were nitpicking or saying I was nitpicking because we had the number 1 offense in America. Imagine how astronomical the numbers would have been if we didn't have the 3, 4, 5 drive dry spell in the middle of all of these games. There's that. Going back to the beginning, talking about the drive chart. Florida's drive chart in the first half was as follows. 3 plays, -5 punt. 3 plays, 5 yards punt. Oh my goodness, this was a great drive. 7 plays, 18 yards punt. 3 plays, 2 yards punt. 3 plays, no yards punt. 3 plays, 2 yards punt. All of those were first half possessions. They were in hell. DJ Lagway couldn't see anything. He's very bad. He needs so much work. Oh my God. And do not talk to me about him transferring here after the year when Carson Beck leaves. The answer is no. Do not want. But, after that, 11 plays, 80 yards for the touchdown in the third quarter. And then Miami, Carson Beck threw them an interception on the first play of the ensuing drive after Florida scores. 8 plays, 21 yards, turnover on downs, 3 and out, and then 4 plays, -2, turnover on downs, 4 plays, 2 yards, turnover on downs. Your defense clamps, boom. I think the story of the day was definitely the defense. I think the offense did struggle. I know for a fact this was the worst Carson Beck game that we've seen. This was the worst Carson Beck game against the Florida Gators that we've seen.
He's 3-0 against the Gators, though, so that's,
that
that's
part. I was going to say, yes, he ends his career 3-0 against the Florida Gators. He told us post-game from Jacksonville, he grew up as a Gator fan, wanted to go there.
Yep.
Apparently they didn't want him. And he says, well, I'm no longer a fan. I do have respect for him. But, belts to ass, you went with somebody else. I think that the story for sure is the defense. It has to be the lead story. It was the thorn in our side last year that kept us from the ACC championship game and college football playoff. I saw many people tweeting last night, Lance Guidry cost Miami a national championship. I'm not necessarily going to go that far, but cost us a chance to compete for? Yes, absolutely. With a generational cornerback and the best offense literally in the history of the University of Miami. Like, just look it up, guys. And I was in college for the 01 team. Like, we lost the second game my freshman year in 2000 and not again until Connor Barth in week 6 my senior year. You know what I mean? Like, I literally had classes with these dudes. Like, I was there. I saw it firsthand. And I know a lot of you guys did too. The offense last year was better. The offense was, statistically at least, better. Like, yeah, it was it was troubling. But this defense with Corey Heatherman, incredible. My immediate thought watching this game is Joe Echeverria and Rudy Fernandez and Canes Connection and you and me and anyone listening to the sound of our voice. Find the money to keep Corey Heatherman because other teams are going to be coming.
What did I say in the press box last night? What did I say? I don't know if you heard me or not.
You said a lot of things. Remind me.
I turned to you and I said Corey Heatherman might be one and done.
You did. You did. And that statement is informing what I'm saying now.
Yeah.
Find it. I'm not even going to try to get 3 years out of him here. I need at least 2. I need this year and I need another 1. That's because past that, this dude, the ceiling is the roof. He's going to go, I don't know, to whatever other contending team or get his own program as a mid-30s aged head coach. But he is not made for the ground. He is made for the sky. And this defense is incredible, and I love it. I think I addressed all the things that you wanted to say.
You did.
Cool.
Let me ask you a question, because a national reporter asked me this question last night.
Okay.
The lull in the offense. Was that a Shannon Dawson situation? Was that a Carson Beck situation? Or was that a Mario situation?
I think it is. I think it's more a cake than scrambled eggs. And what I mean is,
please translate.
Scrambled eggs is one ingredient. Eggs, pan, done. Sorry to your ears because I whistled. If you're listening, I apologize. But a cake, you have eggs and you have flour and you have vanilla extract and you have milk and you have butter and you have sugar and. So I say that to say I think it's a little bit of all of those things, being the coordinator, the quarterback, and the mentality of the coach. Not in equal measure, though. I think sometimes Shannon Dawson gets a little too cute for my liking.
Ooh,
and went away. He goes away. Like, he talks about Miami being Miami.
I wouldn't call that cute, but yes.
Okay, adventurous, whatever you would. He talks about the boring basics being the thing that will pave the path of success.
Correct.
But the boring basics that, and obviously he knows more football than he's forgotten more football than I'll ever know. But to my outside eye, it seems like he's going away from the things that are working. As they're working, to be diverse, to do something else for the sake of variety, not for efficiency. And when you're being the kind of boringly efficient that Miami's offense is, do the same thing. Like I was talking with another friend yesterday, before the game. If you run something that works, what do you do, Brian? Run it again.
Keep going.
What do you do if it works again? Run it again.
Keep going. Get that.
What do you do?
Get that spoon. Feed it. Feed it. Feed it.
Until when? They stop it. And if they don't stop it, you keep freaking running it. Wait, but we scored a touchdown and got the ball back again. Good. Run it again. Nom, 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 nom. And to me, it seems like Dawson goes away from the things that are boring and efficient to try to add in a little variety for the sake of variety sometimes. And that's a criticism that I've continually had, even from last year. So if you're asking me, I would ascribe probably a little bit more responsibility for the lull to Dawson. And then last night, equally, or maybe even more than Dawson, Carson Beck. Because you know me, I really keep it 100. I call it like I see it. This is why you brought me on the Real Ones Kane podcast, because I'm a real one, and I do not sugarcoat anything. Carson Beck was an atrocity last night. That was one of the worst games that we've seen him play. That's the worst game we've seen him play since the abomination at Texas last year. That was peak or valley bad 2024 Carson Beck from Georgia. All kinds of people were tweeting it and said that was the guy that Kirby wanted to get rid of. Like, that was the Carson Beck we saw last night. Atrocious. So you have to be a little wary of that, or aware of that, when you're calling plays as Shannon Dawson, because, I'm criticizing what was called, and maybe Shannon Dawson on the prep, for the game said, I want to do, well, we did ABC. And after you do ABC, I really want to get to DEF because that's going to pop and that's going to work. And then you see Carson looking like, sewer water and say, all that extra stuff, throw it away, because he's not the player to make those plays today. So, yeah, I would put it more on Dawson and Beck. Cristobal does want to be conservative, but not necessarily in the way that we saw. So I'll give him a little bit of credit for the offensive lulls, but yeah, really, because Carson was terrible, and I think Dawson was trying to figure a way through it, and the answers were number 4 Mark Fletcher Jr. and number 6 Marty Brown, and he kept looking on the play sheet for another answer, but the 2 answers were right there, and that to me is the issue.
It was just abundantly clear Carson was just not seeing the field great. Now, listen, I give credit to Florida, right? Got a great defensive coordinator. They got a lot of athletes on defense.
Yeah.
It's not like Carson's playing against no one out there, right?
Right.
So that has to be factored into it. But he just clearly, it just wasn't his night. The interception that he threw, that was interception.
Cormani McLean.
Yes. Yeah, that guy. He just, the ball just didn't get there fast enough. If he had thrown that with some oomph, it would have been caught. It would have been a great throw, but it just wasn't happening for him last night. But you know what? I still really would rather have him than almost anyone else in the country.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, you cannot substitute the amount of experience he has in big games. And, we'll talk about next week in the next segment, but coming up on a game like next week, you're going to want all of the experience in the world, or it's 2 weeks actually, because there's a bye week. Yeah. Next game, I should say. You're going to want that experience.
I will say quickly, the interception was thrown 2 beats too late. When he hit his drop of 5 steps, you need to throw the piss out of that ball. It needs to be the laseriest laser that you can throw. And then you wait, and then you climb the pocket. Great. Love that. And then you're throwing with off body mechanics and everything, and you don't have the strongest arm anyway. And you're throwing it, again, 2-3 beats too late. That's when you give the time for that defender to figure out, oh, okay, and then undercut that. And he had room to run, by the way, on that play. I wouldn't have been opposed.
Yeah, no, he did have. He had plenty of room he run it up the middle, get what you can get, slide, boom.
Look,
live
you were
to fight
talking
another
last
day.
week, Carson, about call my number in the run game, coach. I'm athletic. I can go make plays. Take the 6 yards up the middle, slide. Don't even need to get hit. Clock ticks, because again, they had just scored a touchdown on the previous play to end their drive. Get settled. Okay, we're 2nd and medium. Go out there, be efficient, get some first downs, take some clock. Let's go and score, settle things down. As a 6th year, 5th year, whatever. I think, he said he was at Georgia for 5 years. So a 6-year senior, 23-year-old guy. So not, Malachi Tony, happy birthday last week, Wednesday or Thursday. He's finally 18. So cool. You're not, a teenager, bro. You're a grown man who's played in all these games and all this experience. I really hated that decision. And, I just wanted to put that out there with that. So let me ask you then, who did you ascribe the offensive struggles to when you were asked by this national journalist of great renown, but anonymous name.
Obviously, we did discuss that Carson just didn't have it last night, and I go back and forth on some of Shannon Dawson's decision making when it comes to kind of getting away from what is making the cookie crumble, if you will. But I always, and what we don't really know is like, what is Mario telling Shannon? Like, what's going on in the headsets? Like, what is that dynamic? I don't know. I don't know.
Let the liquor tell it. Mario doesn't say anything and let Shannon call it. I don't know how true that is, but that is, that's the party line from both head coach and coordinator. Just throwing it out there.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about party lines.
Okay.
I'm okay not talking about party lines.
I will say I believe both of them that during the game, Mario interjects very little. However, to think that there have not been copious conversations and direction outside of the actual game with the actual headsets and microphones. Like, so, I mean, I think both things can be true. Like, yeah, I've given you the structure already. From all of our time at the Hecht, everything in practice, what I want, Shannon. So during the game, I got to say that.
Actually, Shannon was actually pretty revealing this week, and he talked about the influence that Alex Mirabal has on the offense. I think Alex is deeply involved in the play-by-play of like, hey, I see this, I see that. Like, why don't we try this? Why don't we do that? My guys are thinking this. My guys are thinking that. I think that's probably more happening during game than Mario Cristobal. But also, Alex Mirabal is also an extension of the head coach in a way. They're besties. They're like intertwined mentally. So that's another thing. All right. The last thing before we move on from this game and take a break and get to some other things on the other side, I didn't even realize this. I did not realize this, Cam. I don't know why it failed to pop into my brain, but it's the last regularly scheduled game between Miami and Florida.
Yeah, man. So,
and that can't be. Like, someone's got to figure out something. But two, if it was, well, down goes the Gators.
Yeah, there are lots of rivalries, traditional rivalries that are, going the way of the dodo bird in college football. SMU, TCU, the Iron Skillet, they played their last scheduled rivalry game yesterday. And Miami and Florida apparently have done the same. There are no future games on the books. There are no plans for any future games. Mario Cristobal made a strong case post-game that, this is a rivalry that should be played annually. Whoever needs to do whatever needs to be done to make that happen, y'all need to do that. It's basically what he said during his post-game presser. And I agree. And I understand the dissension from Florida people. Obviously, they don't want to play us because they lose to us all the damn time. And I know that they're going to say, sorry, Brian. Didn't mean to make you snarf your freshly brewed coffee there. I'm sure that was hot. But look, I know that they play in the SEC, and I know that they have Florida State and everything. I don't care. I don't.
What
exactly? But yeah,
by the way, especially now with an expanded playoff, like one loss isn't going to kill you these days. So
even two.
Yeah, so
if they're the right two.
Hashtag Notre Dame. So suck it up, Buttercup, and let's play.
That part. Yeah. So, I want to play our rivals. I've always been staunch on this point. That includes Notre Dame, if not every year, like most years. But there are a lot of those that are scheduled because they have that parasocial relationship with the ACC where they get to play ACC teams and not be ACC conference member. But whatever. I want to play, Florida State, they're always on the schedule. I want to play Florida. I just think it makes college football better. But, if they want to go and tuck their tails like Gators are wont to do, I'm glad that they're doing it on a 2-game losing streak, getting their doors blown off in their beloved on-campus stadium by Cam Ward and the greatest show on turf last year, and coming down here and getting, it was crock potting. It was a boa constrictor where, it just takes a while to suffocate the life out of them. But that's what Miami did. and they can go back to Alachua County and smell their home in the swamp and rot.
On that note, let's take a break. On the other side, I have a couple of quick hitters, a couple of different topics I'd like to get to, which I have not prepped you for. So we're going to just hit you and see what happens.
I'm ready.
That more on the other side. You're listening and watching the Real Ones Canes podcast. Welcome back to the Real Ones Canes podcast. He is Cam Underwood, managing editor, State of the U. Follow him on X at Underwood Sports. I'm Brian the Beast London. Follow me at Miami Radio Beast. Hey, do me a favor and please subscribe to wherever you're listening to this or watching this, to share it, tell your friends, tell your parents, tell your relatives, tell your auntie, tell the kids down the street. You know what? Walk outside your front door right now and say, hey, subscribe to the Real Ones Canes podcast. That would be amazing.
I mean, if you're a real one, then that's what you should be doing.
The other thing you need to do is check out the amazing website that Cam is the managing editor of. That would be thestateoftheu.com. And Cam, there's such great stuff on there. It's open 24/7 and it's free at stateoftheu.com.
Yeah, man. You know, we do great stuff over there. I'm really, really proud of what we did this week for Rivalry Week. We always lean into our big moments. I believe we had 34 pieces in the story stream that's up on the website this week. A variety of things that were there. This is our day after film review by Justin DeTavio, a longtime football coach. You can see all kinds of things, the Canyon Arrow keys to victory, and more. And so just going through the Doppler of, you know, because hurricanes radar Doppler, things like that.
We get you.
You know, and yeah, just some great stuff. We got the feed over here on the right for you to contribute to.
Oh, that's a lovely picture. That is a great picture on the front page right there.
Yeah,
you know,
and
not
proprietary.
That one, the one above it.
Oh, this one.
Oh yeah, that's a great picture.
Oh, look, I love all of our pictures. And here's our story stream for Rivalry Week with all of our great content. Lots of great contributors here at State of the U. Please come on over and fan with us. We really enjoy engaging with you guys. Brian, you can take that down off the screen.
I mean, I felt you, man.
Yeah, man. So, just come on over and check out the website. I guarantee that there's going to be stuff that you like, probably some stuff that you love, maybe some stuff that you hate, and then you want to talk about. And I'm working on no fewer than 3 pieces during this bye week that I'm putting a lot of labor of love into, and I believe that you'll enjoy them. I'm not going to tell you the topics.
Okay.
You're going to have to keep checking the website and find out.
If you need a diary from the road in Tallahassee, I'll be happy to help with that. Except I'm staying 2 hours away in Lake City.
You heard it here. Done. Yep.
I'm staying 2 hours away in Lake City because you know what a hotel room in Tallahassee goes for on a game week?
Way more than anybody's willing to pay.
$900 a night.
Yeah.
That's
price gouging. Thy name is Tallahassee.
That's what should happen when you have 3 hotels in a city. In any event, it's such a lovely, horrible place. Cam, I have a couple of subject matter to get to for you. After the game, our man Rueben Bain he may be quiet at the podium, but behind the scenes, he is a true Miami Hurricane. They delivered a platter of fried gator into the locker room, in which case he was just loving himself eating some gator after the game. So that was happening. So there was that. Then there was, and I love that. That's fine. That's the good type of stuff.
Yeah.
On the other hand, our boy Anez Cooper, I don't know if you caught this or not, but
I did.
He was throwing a lot of shade at Cormani McClain. Now, I get it. I get it. These guys know each other, the recruiting battles, all this other stuff. Cormani has his own history with the University of Miami, but I don't know, kind of rubbed me a little bit the wrong way. It was like, dude, you beat him. Just leave him alone. Just leave it. Move on to the next kind of situation.
Right, but Anez Cooper really took exception. He felt that Cormani McClain was diving at his knees late.
Oh no, I get that, but
right, I just wanted to give context to the people because it wasn't just like we beat you and I don't like you, so I'm gonna go out of my way to talk. It was like because he said that he's like, yo, you're trying to hurt people, you're trying to dive at me. You know what I mean? So I understand, and especially in the moment of emotion, in his pads still, not even like taking the pads off and going to shower, on the adrenaline high of competing at an elite level, right? I understand how all that added testosterone kind of manifested itself in an aggressive fashion from Anez Cooper. And especially if you felt like somebody was trying to hurt you, I get it. I totally understand it. Like, yeah, in my fledgling athletic career back in high school, like I did and said similar things when I felt people were trying to hurt me.
I agree.
In games. So I get it. I understand also how that would rub you the wrong way, because it's like, it feels better when it's Rueben Bain eating a piece of Gator and a reporter in the locker room asks him, he goes, yeah, eating fried Gator, Billy Napier's finest. Like, that's hilarious. I get that. That feels better than the Anez Cooper Instagram live stream screaming at Cormani McClain, and he called another number. I don't remember which one, of a Florida defender, saying, yo, come see me because y'all were trying to hurt me. So now we can we can step outside and handle this like gentlemen. I get that one feels better than the other, but I understand both. And as somebody who's going to stand on business, especially when you feel attacked in that kind of a way, like corporally, like you were trying to attack my body, you were trying to hurt and injure me. I don't necessarily love it from Anez Cooper just because of the visual. And of course, like, it was screen capped immediately and put on social media. But
well, so that's the thing, right? Like if that was like a personal message to Cormani, like, yo, I'm going to send this to your phone, perfect. Yeah. But like, we know how social, like, people are going to take that out of context. People are going to have that everywhere. It's like, it's just a headache. Like, you don't need a headache. That's just my thought. Like, listen, trust me. I grew up with the baddest talking canes of all time, like running their mouth, right? Like, Alonzo Highsmith, and his boys, calling Brian Bosworth in his hotel room the night before, like talking crap. Like, yes, I'm all about it. And Jerome Brown, like all of that stuff. Like, trust me, I get it. It's just like
Al Blade Sr., God rest his soul. Like,
right, yeah, all of that. But again, that was a different time where, like, you could say something and it wouldn't be in 4 billion eyes in like 3 seconds. It's just
but also it was a different time when the Miami Hurricanes were the biggest, baddest boys on the block. And so if we're tapping back into that with Anez Cooper, and that means the team is going to be the biggest, baddest boys on the block, then you know what? I love it a little bit more than I did when we started this conversation.
By the way, I don't know if you were still in the press conference or not. Did you leave early, or like I didn't catch?
Yeah, I slipped out after a couple. Yeah.
Markel Bell joined us.
I missed that.
Yeah, he's really tall, by the way. He's a big boy. They said, hey, someone asked him, hey, were you talking a lot of trash? He's like, nah, man, that ain't me. That's for 73 to get done. And I'm like, yep, that makes sense.
Big facts.
Yeah, like that makes sense right there. All right, let's move it real quick.
Okay.
So before we get to Florida State, it looks like the AP is probably going to remain the same. Miami will remain at 4. There's no, I don't think they'll move up, but I did start seeing some of the college football playoff projections. Then now it doesn't come out till November, so a lot can happen until then. Cam, they have us at 1 or 2. Cam,
indeed they do,
and I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, I love it, but also I want to be disrespected. I want to be disrespected. It's kind of like my sex life. I want to be disrespected. I don't like when they give us accolades. Like, I don't like when everyone on game day picks us. I don't like when, Nick Saban's like, oh, it's the most well-rounded team I've seen this year. I don't want that. I want hatred. I want disrespected. I want to be the Empire. I want to be Darth Vader. I don't want to be Luke Skywalker.
The thing about it is, if you're good enough for long enough, like Batman, you'll turn into the villain. Like if you live long enough, if you survive long enough as the hero, you'll eventually be the villain. We're on that hero charge of Miami's not been here in a while at this height for a while. And so this is new and different for everybody who's seen the Georgias and Alabamas and O States and the Michigans and the whomever, the Clemsons. Hashtag Clemsoning is back, by the way. Good God.
That was going to be another topic. Damn it. Stole it.
Well, we can still talk about it.
Okay.
But like, yeah, it's new and shiny. So people are on it. And it was the same thing like when Alabama was on the way up and all these other teams. And then you stay there, and then it's not nice, and it's not a story to talk about in glowing terms because the presence of said team at the top for so long eventually inhibits your team from success. And I'm fine.
I get it.
Going through that. But just like I told you last week, just like I've told you in the press box multiple times, this is what we wanted and have been working for. We sat through the Donald Chaney didn't fumble game. Yeah, when Mario was trying to get him 100 yards and lost to Georgia Tech. Yep. We sat through, Georgia Tech last year and Syracuse last. We sat through all of this, all these recruiting losses.
Middle Tennessee State.
Michigan State with Mel Tucker and Manny Diaz, and saying we knew that they were not built like that, so we're going to drag them into the end of the ocean and make them drown. Said Michigan State about Miami. Yo, we've been through all of this for this right here. So I'm not going to lean away from this. We wanted to get back to the kind of performances that put us in these conversations. So I'm not going to shy away from it because for the last umpteen years, we know what the other conversation is. Miami has all this talent and underperforms with it. Why are they losing to Middle Tennessee State, who got their doors blown off the next week, by the way, and gave up all kinds of records for long touchdown throws and everything when guys, DJ Ivey, still playing in the league, got blurred 4 times in that game. What are we talking about?
Yeah.
The Georgia Tech punter dropping a dime, Harvin, whatever, on a fake punt, dropping a 50-yard dime on DJ Ivey's head. We sat through all of that to get here. I am not for a second going to say, I'm not going to shy away from this. I'm sorry. I know that you are more neurotic than I am. I know that you are definitely more a pessimistic person than I.
Much more.
You are on that raft by yourself. We've earned the place in the conversation where we currently stand. So give me all of that. And eventually, teams are going to, because we're away from their team. When it gets down into, championship time, when it gets into college football playoff time, and the proximity of a team of this ilk and this status comes closer to stopping their team season, then the tide will turn in conversation. But no, we have arguably the best player in the country who should be in the conversation for Heisman Trophy, Rueben Bain Jr.
Yep.
I know that Carson Beck had a terrible game. He's still a top 10 quarterback in the country. Our defense is locked down. We have playmakers everywhere. Malachi Toney still making plays when everybody is, when they're double bracketing him on third downs against Florida, he still just gets open and makes plays. We've gone through all of the heartache for years to get here. Give the team their flowers, but it's for us to talk about. I'm fully invested in this team having a true and a great process for how they are doing the work to get better. But yeah, I'm not leaning away or shying away from the status that others are ascribing to a team that's playing to this caliber and built in this way. Not for a second.
All right. Your answer was perfect. And you are right. I live alone on Neuroses Anxiety Island. So it's totally fine. Two more topics.
Not alone, but in this partnership of podcasting.
Yes, correct. Yes. 1,000%. 2 more before we get to real quick on Florida State. We talked about Clemson. They lost to Syracuse yesterday.
Yeah.
Now, before their run in the teens, now they did win an ACC championship in 2011. And before that, when Dabo first got there, and even before, Clemsoning was a term. Clemsoning was a term. It was a term when Miami went up there in 2004, I'm going to say, first year in the ACC. and beat them with like Tyrone Moss, I think, in overtime. May he rest in peace. Scored on that one. And Clemsoning was the thing. And then they started winning a lot. And then Clemson was thought like at one point it was like Clemson and Bama, right? Like are the two juggernauts. And now Clemson is something that they weren't. And Mike, it's the Real Ones Canes podcast poll question of the week. If you go to my Twitter profile at Miami Radio Beast and you go to the pinned question, it is this week's Real Ones Canes pod poll question of the week, brought to you by Underwood Sports. That's Cam from the State of the U. Do Clemson fans know they're Clemsoning again? And the answer, it's about 50-50 right now. It's like 52-47 as to yes, but it's about 50-50. I don't think they do. I think they still think they are a juggernaut. I don't think they've realized that they have fallen off yet. You, I think, disagree.
I definitely disagree. I think that they could talk themselves into believing that they were still championship Clemson. And then you lose to Georgia Tech last week and Syracuse this week. There's no reason they should have lost to Syracuse. That was a Clemsoning game. Clemsoning being, I have a better roster and a better team, and I'm finding a way to lose in these spots. Now, peak Clemsoning was like 10-1 Clemson or 8-1 Clemson losing to a bad team to get to 8-2. But in the last 4 years preceding this one, but the last 5 years, including this year, right? So in their championship run, let's go there, 2015 to 2019, they lost a total of 5 games in 5 years. 1-1-2-0-1. Then they, since then, they lost 2 in the 2020 season. Fine. Past that, 3-4 losses a year, and now 1-3 through 4 games. Their golden era is done. Like, this is not Deshaun Watson, obviously before the nasty man stuff. But this is not Deshaun Watson in college. This is not Trevor Lawrence, Clemson. This is not Travis Etienne, Clemson. This is not plethora of wide receivers, Clemson. They still have a nasty D-line, but even still, they're not as dominant as the D-line has been at Clemson. This is not the Clemson of the mid-2010s. This is not. And the progression has been slow. And I think that last year's surprise ACC championship might extend a Clemson fan's view of dominance and championship level contention. But they only got there because Miami dropped the ball, and that was one of the worst. Like, if you line that ACC championship Clemson team up against any of the other ACC championship Clemson teams,
I get you.
They get their doors blown off. But 3 losses 2 years in a row, and now 4 losses 2 years in a row, and now 3 losses through 4 weeks. Like, this is how an empire dies. This is how a dynasty ends. It doesn't go from 14-1 to 6-6 and then stay there. It has the slow progression. We've seen the slide. And this is why I believe that since they've seen it a little bit over the course of the last couple of years, this is why the questions are getting a little bit stronger for Dabo at his press conferences. This is why he's lashing out at the critique now, because they were beyond any kind of critique for a while. So they see that the glory days a little bit in the rearview mirror.
Yeah, speaking of Dabo, his buyout is just under $60 million, so good luck with that.
They're not going to buy him. He's a living legend there. He's not going to get fired.
No,
let me get that straight.
He may get a call from Alabama.
Right. He will leave of his own volition, but name me the other. Frank Howard, they named The Rock after that man at Clemson.
That is correct.
Like, you can make a case that Dabo Swinney is the greatest coach in Clemson history. Like, I'm not saying that they're going to fire the man, But I'm also not going to sit here and say, oh, this is the 14-1 championship team from 2016. They are not them boys anymore. They're not. And I think that Clemson people, and I know a couple of them, they could talk themselves out of it for a while. They've been slapped in the face with that truth this year.
All right, so real quick, just look at the Clemson thing, right? 1-3, they have a bye week. Then they're at UNC. Belichick's team is not that good. They may win that one. At Boston College, could probably win that one. But then hosting SMU, they could lose that one. Hosting Duke, that's not a gimme. Hosting Florida State, forget about that. At Louisville, who knows? And then the end of the year at the team with maybe the best quarterback in the country at South Carolina. They could lose 4 or 5 more games.
It is very possible. Like there are 5 losable games that you just listed. I'm not saying that they're going to lose all of them and
Correct.
go 4-8, but those are losable games for a Clemson team, for any team, regardless of the branding and the name across the front of the jersey. But any team playing the way that team in Clemson, South Carolina is playing, they could lose any or all of those 5 games. Now, they could also go 4-1 in those 5 games. They could. But yeah, this is not the Paragon Championship program that it has been anymore. And yeah, I think while Clemson fans were able to talk themselves around it because they did win the ACC championship last year, yeah, I think the truth is staring them in the face in an undeniable kind of a way now.
All right, last topic before we get to just a real quick FSU preview. Something happened in the Midwest yesterday that caught my attention.
Oh,
it wasn't a big national game. It was actually an interstate game or an intra rivalry game, a border war type game, I guess is what I'm trying to go for.
Yes.
And something interesting happened from a player that I kind of like and have had my eyes on.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know where I'm heading with this?
I know exactly where you're heading with it. You're heading to Bloomington, Indiana.
I am. The Indiana Hoosiers, who are 4-0, destroyed Illinois 63-10. If you didn't know this, the Miami native, former Cal quarterback, and now Indiana quarterback, Fernando Mendoza, threw for 5 touchdowns yesterday. He was 21 of 23. 21 of 23, Cam, 91%, 267 yards, 5 touchdowns, no interceptions. You and I have had this conversation in the press box a lot.
Uh-huh.
Who is next up for quarterback at the University of Miami? I don't think I'm convinced that person is on this team right now, but we don't know. Mendoza has another year of eligibility left. Might he want to come home? Might you want him to come home?
I don't think he's playing college football next year. And so, number one, I don't think Fernando Mendoza is playing college football next year. Also, Indiana was ranked like number 19, and Illinois was ranked number 9 going into that game. And I picked Illinois in my picks league as a 2-point game, and big oops. Yeah, lost really, really bad. Fernando Mendoza's twin brother, I also believe, is a quarterback at Indiana. So Fernando, and then I don't know the other kid's name, so I'm not going to sit here and make something up. But the twin came in when it was blowout time for the bigger, better brother.
It's Alberto, by the way.
Okay, I was going to say something like that, but I didn't.
Yeah, it's Alberto. He's a freshman.
Make something up. Yeah, so Fernando and then Alberto got playing time after Fernando dotted up Illinois. I agree with you that my early stance is that next year's starting quarterback is not on this year's roster. I would take Fernando Mendoza. I believe that he would like to be at the University of Miami since he was trying into politics to get to University of Miami out of Christopher Columbus High School anyways, and went to Columbus, and like every Columbus kid wants to go to Miami anyway, like Mario Cristobal and Alex Mirabal and Deion Bush and insert umpteen million Columbus kid.
Well,
Bryce
and
Gerald.
The entire hierarchy of the University of Miami is from Columbus, basically.
Hello. So yes. I get it. I just don't think that Fernando Mendoza is going to be playing college football next year. I think that he's a very fine option for next year. I think that Miami did the right thing and got the better quarterback in spite of a very bad game against Florida, juxtaposed with Fernando Mendoza dotting and dealing.
Yeah.
I get people who are going to say Carson Beck did this last night, Fernando Mendoza did this last night. Cam, what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah,
I'm
but
taking the long-term view.
Florida's defense is probably better than Illinois. I don't know that for a fact, but
Yeah.
at least athletes-wise.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Illinois' defense is good, but I mean, Indiana's offense is great, and they, Cernetti schemes us up. So would I take Fernando Mendoza? Yes. Do I think that he would want to play at Miami? At this point, with multiple recruitments being ignored by Miami, I'm not even sure at this point that he would. Maybe he's, got that chip on the shoulder thing, and I would completely understand it. Wanted to come here out of high school. Y'all said I wasn't a FBS quarterback. I went to Cal, really played well against you guys, did things out there, and then went into transfer portal. I'm right here. You don't got a starting quarterback, and ignored me again after I showed and proved against your team what I can do. And now I went to Indiana, and now after this, it's Mike Jones. Back then they didn't want me, but now I'm hot and they all on me. Nah, homie. Absolutely not. I could see that being his mentality. So I guess that's two different answers. Would I take him? Yes. Do I think that he's still playing college football next year? No. So I kind of think this to be a moot point, but we'll see.
All right. Florida State absolutely killed somebody yesterday. It doesn't really.
State.
Yeah, whatever. They're rolling. I mean, they beat Alabama to start the season. I don't really know how good Alabama is. I think they're good, but I can go either way on that. That'll definitely pan out as the season goes along. Listen, I give props to their staff up there. They were terrible last year, and they are definitely not terrible this year. They're really good. This game next or 2 weeks from yesterday is going to be a guaranteed game day, prime time, all of the things, right? It's going to be another huge game. That place is really hard to play in. It gets loud, that stupid song, all of it. It's going to be there. And I'm pretty sure that next week's game almost decides the fate of the ACC in some ways. Well, okay.
I think it's too early for that.
Maybe, but it certainly will have a big impact, I would say, on the ACC thing. And I think it is definitely, it could be a preview of the ACC championship. And it's going to, these two teams could end up in the playoff too. Man, there's a lot on the line in a couple of weeks.
A lot on the line. I'm glad that we get a bye week here. I hate the ACC. I hate them so bad because we're one of three teams that has bye. So in a season with an extra week, so you get 2 bye weeks because there's 14 weeks to play 12 in the calendar. We get both of our bye weeks in a 3-week span. I freaking hate this conference for doing that to us. And I know that there's Duke and somebody else who has that same structure, but I hate it. But I do love this bye week before Florida State. And yeah, this feels like the gathering storm before like a really epic matchup in this rivalry. It's gone back and forth with one team being good and one team being terrible for the last few times. There's been 6 touchdown blowouts going both ways, back and forth, in the last few years between Miami and Florida State, which is terrible. You don't want to ever really see that. Last year's game was only like a 4 touchdown win by Miami, but still, that wasn't really close. The last thing I'll say, my freshman year at UM was 2000. So the iconic 2000 Miami Florida State game was my introduction by fire.
Dorsey to Shockey
was coming right towards the student section, except for me and my friends snuck out of the student section. We were sitting at the 50 with some dudes who came in from Dallas. And at 19 years old, I had many an adult beverage that I was not of age for because the dad of the group was just like, I'm getting everybody beers. I said, Cool, bro.
Also, they ran out of water in the stadium that day, so yes.
I was hydrated by Budweiser that day. But I just remember it was just being a native Michigander, I've seen every traditional Big Ten team at the big house, with the exception of OSU, just because those tickets were always hard to come by, and I wanted to usually watch it with my friends at home. So I'd seen big rivalry games. I'd been to Michigan State. I was there for the Hail Mary in '91 with Colorado. I'd seen so many things, and I was like, yo, like, I've seen great football. Like, it can't get better than that. Lies. Wrong. I learned that day, this is different. And I know you were in the band, and obviously, know the war chant. I'll never forget. The Seminole Marching Band was in the upper deck of the old Orange Bowl on the end of the horseshoe on their sideline, so facing the 50 where I was sitting. And the first time they queued it up, you saw the drum major in all white stand up, and they have proprietarily made whistles, in case anybody's wondering, that are a different pitch than any other whistle in the marching band world. Crazy, I know. And you just hear that whistle, deep, 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 and they have that drum fill that comes in on the pickup of 4, and that band hit on the downbeat, and it was the Fire of 10,000 Suns. And I'm getting like goosebumps on my arms thinking about it, and like just the memories and the feeling of the old Orange Bowl and that rivalry. And that was the Santana Moss big time players make big time plays in big games. That was that game. And I say all that to say that with the way that this season is going for both teams, it feels like we're leading up to that kind of a clash in 2 weeks. And I can't wait.
And I will be there swallowing 4,000 Tums a minute.
That might be a record.
Yeah, it could be. Cam, I appreciate you as always. Hey, people, go check out stateoftheu.com. Please do. We will put a link in the show notes, so go check that out. Go check out all the, Cam and the staff do unbelievable work, and it's free, so there's no paywall to get through. Also, please subscribe to wherever you're listening to this or watching it. Like it, thumbs up, comment. Please comment in the comment section. I like to get back to you guys if you throw it in there, and tell your friends and family. We appreciate you guys. Cam, I appreciate you, my friend.
I appreciate you also. But for the comments, think of all the things that we talked about.
Oh yeah, we gave is
Miami like, are we overrated? Do you feel bad that people are liking us so much? The return of Clemsoning, the impending battle against Florida State. Like, there's that. And I mean, look, I know that I talked about a lot of crazy stuff on this show. And Brian also made a couple crazy comments in the show. Yes. But yeah, hey, leave your comments, like, subscribe, all those things. I appreciate you, Brian. And I also appreciate each one of you listening and watching the Real Ones Canes podcast. Take it away.
I as well. And we will see you sometime this week in a bye week spectacular right here on the Real Ones Canes podcast. Peace.